The use of technology has encouraged development in mankind. Particularly, it gave birth to the use of social media, which creates and necessitates the need to transfer information and communication. This also gave rise for people to meet, to interact and stay connected. In fact, social media has become a source of income for majority of its users. But that's the positive sides of using social media. What about the negative parts? What about the negative activities carried on the social space? When we talk about negative activities, we talk about deception, fraud, and even cyberbullying. On the program today, we will be taking a close look at one of the negative activities carried on the social media, talking about cyberbullying in Nigeria and what the law says about this topic. My name is Miriam Usman. This is where we bring you all societal matters and how it affects our everyday lives with a view of what the law says about this topic. The program continues after this break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching You and the Law on OGTV. Today we're being joined on the program by Abeokuta, and he will be taking us through the topic of conversation today, cyberbullying in Nigeria and the stand of the law. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
Yes, I'm going to first start by asking you, how do you feel talking about this topic? Because personally, I've experienced cyberbullying. You know, I've seen people go through it. Matter of fact, just before I slept last night, I was on this particular celebrities page and I was just going through the comment section, because for every engaging post, the comment section is where the entertainment is. Well, yes, well, last night I wasn't entertained. I felt bad because there were a lot of things people say to this particular lady, forgetting or taking the fact that she's human and she has her mental health to protect. I don't care the reason why they are trolling or saying these things, but I don't think any human deserves to be bullied, especially on the cyberspace. Now, I've also carried out my research and I noticed one of the ways these victims fight back cyberbullying is they reciprocate the energy, they reciprocate the efforts thrown at them. So you insult them, they insult you back. You insult their father, they insult your father. So I was beginning to wonder, why are some of these victims resorting to this? I even also researched and I found out that some go to the extent of deleting their social media accounts just to protect their sanity. And sometimes they delete the social media in particular, and then they don't be on that space for a very long time until things have, you know, turns down and they're back. Well, I'd like to, before we go deep into the conversation today, I want us to have a basis for what cyberbullying is according to the Nigerian law. I know this thing might differ in human understanding, locations. You know, there are some other factors that can play the definition of cyberbullying different from every other part. So let's have a conversation on what the law says cyberbullying is. Okay,
thank you very much, Miriam. I will take it from where you ended with regards to the story you just said about the celebrity. You see, at one point or the other, okay, so bullying starts from at one point or the other, people get bullied. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Whether it be it on the social space, that is on the social media, cyberspace, or in person. You know, before now we see that it occurs basically amongst children.
Yes.
I'll bully you, things from work, secondary school, even to university and things like that. But now we see that bullying does not even occur amongst only children. It occurs even with adults.
Yes.
And that is why we have it on the social media. Now, when you talk about cyberbullying and things, who are the persons that bully people on the cyberspace?
Adults.
We don't even know.
Okay,
You don't even know because you don't know the person's behind
Yes.
the keypad.
But it's sometimes you know this person.
Is an adult. You understand what I'm talking about? But most times you don't know.
That's
It
right.
could be a 14-year-old boy who is exposed
Yeah.
and who is. So what do we, when we talk about bullying, cyberbullying, bullying is bullying. When you talk about bullying, you are forcing somebody into a situation, or you are making somebody feel discomfort about a thing, making him feel less of himself, or making him feel bad of himself. Making him have some kind of fearfulness, trepidations. Those things are bullying is bullying. Now, when you do it on the cyberspace, that is when it comes into cyberbullying.
Okay.
Now, just like you have said, how do people respond to these things? Most persons, I've seen a lot. In fact, not even with the recent thing that is happening with Mohbad and Naira Marley. May God bless, may you rest in perfect peace, Mohbad and Naira Marley and everything. You see that people engage in a lot of things with Sam Larry, Sam D's. People even engage with themselves, against themselves, your father, your mother, Peter Obi, Obedience, and Ashiwaju, things like that. But some persons take it very personally, some persons don't. In Nigeria, we have very limited, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen any reports.
Yes, we're actually coming to that. We're coming to that.
I don't think I've ever seen any report on cyberbullying before, but then it doesn't mean that there is no law against it.
Which is why we're discussing this today.
This is why we're discussing it.
You know, like you said, for a fact, unlike what we know as a traditional form of bullying, where, you know, there's a face to the act,
yes.
You know, there's a name to it. It's done person to person, and most times it's as a result of the position the person occupies. Because you occupy this particular position, you can use it to oppress the other person, or you have power, and in most cases physical advantage. And you could also relate it to the primary, secondary school, and even the university scenarios where the seniors bully the juniors because they have the physics and all that. Now that's in the traditional bullying we know. These days, you don't even know the person behind it, because they do some of these things so professional. I don't want to believe that they do this thing just casually. They plan it. They open an account. They don't have a profile picture. Some of them don't have a profile picture. Some of them have profile pictures that are not theirs, and that's where deception comes in to deceive the person viewing the account. They go to the extent of having names that you cannot trace them with. You know, they don't even have activities on social media, but they are operating as humans. You see this comment, you know, this is not a bot. He was human who did this. So it becomes hard to trace some of these these things. Now, I don't want us to talk about the law for now. You know, let's talk about the challenges that are that are attached to cyberbullying. Yes. For sure, this is one of them. You know, you find it very hard to even trace the person who makes this comment. And I think in law and the courts, you need to provide evidence to prove. So
these are challenges, actually. Truly, these are challenges. But then, to every wrong, there's a remedy. We have it in the Latin maxim. It says, "Ibi jus, ibi remedium." That's wherever there is a wrong, there is a remedy. Wherever there is an issue. Now, we have the challenge of, we don't know the people behind these things. We don't know this. But we have regulations. In Nigeria, we have laws. But then, these laws are not put to use. We can still improve on our laws. Our laws should still be improved on.
What do you mean by it's not being put to use?
Now, for example, the same cyberbullying we are talking about, not so many persons know about it. So that is why not so many people make reports of it. Law will only be at its spot until you put it in motion. The law can be there in the books until somebody sets a motion to it. The law will not be moved. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So what does the law say about cyberbullying activities?
I will be coming to that place. I'll be coming to that place. Now, facing the challenges that you said, the person, we don't know the persons behind it, we don't know this, we don't know that. Okay, let me first talk about what does the law say about it. Now, Cybercrime Act, we have the Cybercrime Act of 2015. Okay. Section 24, particularly, of the Cybercrime Act, Section 24, subsection 1 and 2, particularly talks about this issue of cyberbullying. although it was not couched as cyberbullying, but then it was said in that place, if I won't be quoting verbatim now, paraphrasing. Section 24, subsection 1, paragraph A, talks about if anybody makes any, on a social space, on a cyberspace, you intimidate a person or you make a person feel less of himself or anything, there's section B, that's section 24, subsection 1, paragraph B of it, talks about releasing pornographic content or releasing things like that against
which,
a person.
By the way, is on the increase now.
Which is on the increase. Releasing pornographic content and everything. Such crimes, such acts are regarded as a crime as a crime which is punishable by the Cyber Crimes Act. And the penalty for such crime is 7 million naira fine. Again,
7 million naira.
Yeah, 7 million naira fine and a imprisonment for not more than 3 years.
7 million naira to fine for anyone who makes a comment.
Who makes such comments, who publicizes such comments, or who makes such comments to be available to the public, or anybody who works in concert with another person to do such kind of publication or such kind of comments. Now we need to look at the streamline, the difference between such publication and defamation. You know, there is a very thin line in it. Now, when you talk about defamation of character or defamation does not have to be repeated. Defamation could be done once. So far, people are there, people heard about it and the like. But when you talk about bullying, bullying is a repeated action. It's not just once. It's done repeatedly. At any point in time, it might not necessarily be the same way. It could be in other ways. It could be, today, look at her. Who is she? She's not a celebrity for that matter. You know, things like that, those kind of words. You
are getting fat, go and get married.
Exactly. Things like that. Things like that. Things like that actually constitute cyberbullying. And people don't know about it. So instead of you deleting your account or anything, we get to, okay, you can actually go against this person behind it. But then the challenge comes on, how do you know the person behind it? And that is where we need to speak to our legislators. So
I was going to ask, can't the law help locate this person?
The law is there to remedy a lot of things. That's why we have our legislators. When we look at the challenge, when we look at the problem in the society, the laws are there to help quell or help checkmate challenges in the society. Now, there is this thing is rampant. Currently in Ogun State, the issue of cultism and the like, there is a proposal in the State Assembly on a law that deals directly with cultism. Directly with cultism. Now, because of the rampancy of cultist activities. So, if we have issues on cyberbullying and things like that, we are able to get the challenges. What are the challenges? We don't know the people behind these things. Like you said earlier on, the accounts and everything. So, the keyboard warriors. Thank you. So, if we can get the social, what's it called now? The app owners, for example, now Facebook, we know that it's owned by Facebook. If there is a legislation that can, of course, for Facebook to work in Nigeria, it has to abide by the laws of Nigeria. It has to abide by the laws of the land. So if our legislators can put it there that, okay, before anybody registers, which you cannot register a Facebook account without a telephone number or without a traceable mail or anything. Okay, now, if anybody wants to register Facebook accounts, the person must register via a valid telephone number. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You cannot create any account. I'm only giving a scenario now. You cannot create a valid Facebook account, you cannot create a valid X account, you cannot create a valid, that's Twitter now, cannot create a valid, any kind of account without a valid telephone number, a valid telephone contact. And this telephone contact, by law, we have the Nigerian Identification Management Council and the like. By law, everybody that has these telephone numbers ought to be registered. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So when they register, now the liability is on whoever they use his or her telephone number, which is linked to that account. The liability is on such person to make sure that his telephone number is not stolen, or if it is stolen, make a police report immediately.
You know, it's very important we talk about this so that people who indulge in this, you know, they might think they can get away because they hide under the invisible account without pictures. When you are breaking it down, that you can be found.
You can be found. That's the thing. No, that's the truth about it. You can be found. And if we have laws, of which we have laws, if we have laws and we are ready to actually work by our laws, to ensuring that these things get, to ensuring that we get these things done, then we will reduce this issue of cyberbullying to a barest minimum. To the barest minimum, let these people be found. The accounts, whoever details is linked to the account, arrest such person. If the person is now left for that person to prove that he's not the one who was behind it.
Well, you're still watching You and the Law on OGTV, and we're taking a close look at cyberbullying in Nigeria versus the law of the country. This is where you get all the legal backings and the stand of the law around certain topics that revolves around our lives and our everyday activities. We'll go on this break, after which the program continues. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching You and the Law on OGTV, and today we've been taking a close look at cyberbullying in the country and what the law says about this particular topic. No doubt we've come across cyberbullying, we've witnessed or experienced it, and it's on the increase in Nigeria. One can only imagine what the law says about this particular topic. Joining us still on the program is Adeyemi Damilare. He's giving us a foundation for this conversation, and we will just develop more on this topic for today. So before we went on that break, he gave us a basis, cyberbullying, what the law says. I think we were able to cover the parts where some of these people who bully their victims hide under the invisible accounts and all that. But there are still cases where people bully other people on the internet with their names, their pictures. You would see it there. I give you an example. A few months ago, we saw how one of the actress, Nollywood actress, Eniola Badmus, she took it very personal because this particular TikTok lady made a video about her and said a lot of things. And so Eniola Badmus, I think she took the thing to court. The lady was arrested, and that's because the lady was, was traceable. She had an account, she had a name, she had a face, so it was very easy to identify this person. Now, in such case, when you know who is bullying you on the internet, you know the name, you know the face, you see the activities of the person, you can actually present something to the court. How do you go about it?
Well, when you talk about cyberbullying is a crime, that is a crime, and the agency in charge of prosecuting crimes is the police. So you go make a report to the police. Let them understand that this is it. Present your facts and everything. Let the police do their investigation. Get the person arrested, charged to court. And then you can have both. You can have it both as a criminal. Of course, that is the criminal aspect, where the person will have to pay a fine of 7 million naira and then 3 years. And mind you, if the cyberbullying results into death, or into, we've read of things. We don't know how true or how authentic these stories could be. But there was a time we read that a particular guy was bullied on Twitter and he committed suicide. So in such case, what could happen? In such cases, the penalty is not 7 million, no. And it's not 3 years imprisonment.
Wow.
It is a minimum of 10 years imprisonment. Minimum of 10 years imprisonment. And then I think about 25 million naira in fine. But it still has the same contents. So far, this person was bullied, and it can be proved. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And I think that's by section 24, section 2. Remember, everybody has a constitutional right to opinion, to express themselves. So that's section 39 of the Constitution of Nigeria. But then section 45 of that same constitution limits everybody's rights. Your right to opinion, your right to expression does not give you the right to defame me, does not give you the right to bully me. So if you have your rights to that extent, your right stops at the point where I am being bullied. So if I have issues with the fact that you are bullying me or anything, I can report you to the police. So far I know you and everything. It can be reported. You can be prosecuted if it is a defamation. You can be prosecuted defamatorily, and you can be prosecuted through the Cybercrimes Act. Now that is in police. You can also go against such a person in the civil action.
What's the civil action? Now,
civil action is you are going there asking for compensation.
The 7 million naira?
And not 7 million naira. Oh. That one is under crime.
Okay.
It can be prosecuted by the police. But you can institute a civil action. We have two types of actions basically in courts. You have the civil actions and the criminal actions. Criminal actions are done by statutory agencies. When I talk about statutory agencies, I mean police, EFCC, ICPC, NDLEA, so far that it offends their acts or their laws.
Okay.
But when you talk about civil actions, it is done by individual to individual, irrespective of whoever it is that is involved.
All right, so let me quickly remind our viewers that you can send in your messages via the number displayed on the screen to ask our guest questions on the program. So while we gradually wrap up on the program today, let's talk about the way forward. You know, it's one thing to know this thing that it's on the increase, no doubt. Everyone can see that cyberbullying is on the increase right now, and it's no longer funny because it's tampering with the mental health of people, their reputation, and in most cases, the actions of cyberbullying, the effects rather, cannot be curbed. You know, you've done damages to the mental health of a particular person, you've insulted this person, words have gone out, you can't pack them back, like my mom always says. So what's the way forward, you know, so that we don't grow a society where people do not are not mindful of their speeches? The internet never forgets. That's one thing we always need to know. That's true. Yeah, so let's talk about the way forward. What do you suggest? The
number one way to curbing any menace in the society, I'm using the word menace now because
that's what it is.
Number one way to curbing it is orientation. Orientate people about what this thing is. Some persons are doing it without knowing that this is what they are doing.
Yes.
They don't know the effect, they don't know anything.
Yes.
So give them orientation. There should be talks about this online, and then after the orientations and anything, if somebody feels offended or somebody has felt if a wrong has been breached, if a wrong has been done to somebody, or you feel that okay, you want to prosecute in crime, do well to make reports. Report it at the police stations, or you go by your civil actions against such person. When people know that there are penalties to these things, they won't do it again. So that's the basic thing.
Well, I do really agree with you when you say that, because the internet is open to everyone. Everyone has phone now, and so they could do anything they like. But that's why we're talking about this on the program today. And trust me, I know a lot of people have gathered one or two things for themselves. I want to say thank you so much for coming on the program today. It's been a great time. I've been talked about cyberbullying, which I know a lot of us are taking note of the stand of the law. Let us also be mindful of the fact that despite the freedom of expression and opinions in the country, we are also supposed to be mindful of what we know, what we say out there. Of a fact, the internet never forgets. I hope this one goes out to everyone who is involved. The law will come after you and it will get you. My name is Miriam Usman. Until I see you next week, this is you and Below. Bye for now.